Good morning, everyone. I
Good
am
morning.
Amy Loudermilk, the Programs Manager for Arts Build, here today in the absence of James McKissick, Arts Build's president, who is our typical master of ceremonies. James will be back later this week for our other candidate talks that we've got scheduled. I am pleased to welcome you all today on behalf of Arts Build and Arts Forward in partnership to provide opportunities to educate and to encourage Hamilton County's arts sector to vote. We are here today to talk about the issues and the topics with our city mayoral candidates that matter most to Chattanooga and our local arts sector, and to advocate for arts funding and resources in our area. Today, I'm grateful that Chris Long made time to join us and to share his plans as mayoral candidate for the city of Chattanooga. In regards to the organization I represent, Arts Build, our mission is building community through the arts. We do that by funding local arts organizations and arts projects. We are an advocate for the arts and an arts hub for Hamilton County. Currently, Arts Build is engaged in its Rural Arts Challenge, as well as Tech Goes Home for the arts community. We are also looking forward to announcing our request for applicants for our next Holmberg Arts Leadership Institute cohort. So stay tuned to our social media for those announcements and those dates. But now it is my pleasure to introduce my very good friend and coordinator of today's chat, Monica Kinsey, who is representing Arts Forward. We are thankful for Monica and organizing these talks with our candidates. Getting to know our mayoral candidates is integral to the greater Chattanooga and Hamilton County arts sector and our community at large in choosing the next chief executive of Chattanooga. So we truly have a gift in these chats. So Monica, let's get started.
Good morning, everyone. I am Monica Kinsey with Arts Forward Chattanooga, a collective of 18 arts organizations. We work alongside Arts Build on providing shared resources such as HR, legal, and marketing, awareness of the arts in the community, as well as advocacy of the arts in our community. The arts contribute over $172 million to our local economy, and we feel that it's important that our arts community is engaged in their local elections. Simply put, artists create, contribute, and vote. It is my pleasure to introduce our guest mayoral candidate today, Mr. Chris Long, and our moderator, Rodney Van Valkenburg, Executive Director of the Chattanooga Theater Center. I will let each of our guests share a little more about themselves and their organizations as we kick this off. Rodney, we'll start with you.
Well, great. It's great to be here. And thank you, Chris, for participating here today.
Thank you so
I
much.
think,
Yes.
and I think you all know about the Theater Center, so I won't want to get into that because I want to talk, learn as much as our time to learn about you, Chris. So let's start there. Let's tell us about yourself. First of all, your background and why you were interested in running for mayor, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, I'm a lifelong Chattanoogan. Lived here my whole life. I studied for 2 years at the Hunter Art Museum when I was a young man back in the early 80s. I put art pretty much as developed into my whole career. I'm an architectural engineering small businessman. Been in this business for 30 years. I've seen a lot of things that go on in Chattanooga. A lot of things that are good and some things that concerning me. And I would be glad to go over all that stuff. But what I'm trying to do today is I understand the importance of art. Okay, art is very important because it's been my whole career. You know, I've been an artist my whole life. That's how I make my living. And it's an integral part of everything. But we have issues that we need to address that's very concerning to me. And but I want to save that for last. And there's a lot of stuff that I would love to share with you, but unfortunately I won't be able to. I'm gonna have to turn all that loose towards the end of just right after the where the early vote cutoff line is, because the other candidates that we have here don't have enough creative thought. They like to jump on people's ideas and concerns, and that's mainly the reason why I've been running. I've just now kind of launched, kind of late in the game, but I wanted to give an air of everybody a chance that is running for mayor to see what their angle is, what their platform is. And none of them are addressing the key issues that we need to be addressing. And it's very troubling to me. And we have to achieve a sustainable economic engine, or we're not going to thrive. It's that serious.
Well, Chris, since it's right behind you, I think to address it must be part of what you're philosophically, how you're coming to the race. Are you tired of politicians? Just from what does that mean in terms of how you're running for campaigns? That's what everybody.
Well, I'm not your conventional mayoral candidate. You know, I'm not what you call a smooth talking car salesman that's going to sell you a bunch of stuff that you can't afford. Okay, we have to get down to the level of the working people in Chattanooga, because the working people, once again, we're going to have to call those folks back to bail us out. You know, we've had a lot of beautiful things that went on in Chattanooga, but at a big cost. And give you an example, we're going to have to restructure. See, nobody's taking care of the environment like it needs to be. There's a lot of talk about it, but nothing's being done. And the citizens are having to pay an exorbitant amount of money. And where is it going? There's nothing to be showed for it. Just like alone in that one department we have in Chattanooga, the stormwater department, we got 150 employees in there, just in that one department. What are they doing? Nothing's being done. All right. Our stormwater rates have went up 60% in the past 5 years. That has impacted our schools dramatically because they have to pay the stormwater bill.
Right.
They was paying $360,000 a year 4 years ago. Okay, 5 years ago, and it's went up 60%. Okay, what are we doing about that? It's an easy fix. What I have determined is it has turned into a cash cow for pet projects around Chattanooga. They try to justify stormwater projects, but they're not. And we've gotten railroaded with that. And we got to get that under hand. And we can be compliant with EPA in 3 years, 100% compliant, because I know exactly what to do. You know, we have these big events that we have in there where the people are swimming in, you know, the Ironman, where they're swimming up the river. If you have a rain event like we're having right now, there's no way in the world I would be out there in that water, knowing what I know. It will poison you.
But that's, that's.
I know I'm getting off topic, but these are the things that we have to address. And the only way we can fix this is the brunt of my campaign. If you see my signs, I got a hard hat on, okay? And the reason why I'm doing that is we have to get back to trade schools. See, when I was in school, I was going to go down to Kirtman because I wanted to get into the drafting program. They had the good drafting program. I was going to go down there for it. All right. Well, Chattanooga City Schools at that time, where I went to Tyner High School, come up with a vocational center over there. We had the state-of-the-art vocational center over there for drafting. And that launched me in my career, for the past 40 years. Okay.
Yeah.
And I've done very well with it. But we have to get back to trade schools. Trade schools, the only way it's going to save our, it takes care of our violence and stuff like that. And if you don't have this revenue stream coming in here, you guys are going to be having to go up to the next mayor, whoever it is. Hopefully it's me. You're going to be coming up to me. I want to be able to have you funding there that you need. Otherwise, if nobody don't get in front of this, we have to come up with a sustainable economic engine as fast as possible.
Well,
I'm talking about when I get inaugurated, I'm not going to the after party. I got to go to work right then. That's how serious this is.
Well, where do you see, just philosophically, you did mention about getting the money the arts need. So what do you see as the role of government as far as funding the arts? Does government have a role in funding the arts?
I mean, you guys are doing an excellent job. See, you're the only nonprofit that I see that's actually bringing in some kind of revenue for the city, okay? And then you guys should get a piece of that action for your efforts and work. That's what you're about. And if you need to be supplemented a little bit more, that's fine, okay? But unfortunately, we have gone beyond the rim of that right now. We are going to go down, okay? The key is how far are we going to go down? My contention is we got to lessen the blow because it is coming.
So how do you
There's nothing we can do about it.
Well, just to keep it on the arts, so we're to keep us from going down, what do you see as the role of the arts in the community that would help keep Chattanooga strong?
Well, we got to broaden our horizons with that. It just can't be focused downtown no more. I feel neglected. I live out here in East Brainerd. The only thing that I have out here that stands for art is the Heritage over here off Jenkins Road. Got a little bit of art out there, but we need a lot of that out here too. We can't be left out, and it's an important role. But trade schools is an intricate point that we need to work with the arts because it's all about crafts. It's a trade, something that you got tangible that you can hold on to, that you can carry a life long. Okay, you got to have welders out here, okay, to do different types of art. They got to be craftsmen, and they got to know these skills. Okay, it's not who can build the most creative website. I get that. There's a demand for that too. But there's got to be skilled labor out here working, and we've lost this skilled labor. I mean, I'm out here. I got devastated with the tornado. This house here that I'm broadcasting from was totally wiped out. Mm-hmm. And I know what we need out here for skilled trade people. We got to build stuff, and we got to work on affordable housing. The way this thing's set up right now, all the regulations that we have set up right now, there's no chance or we're going to have affordable housing. Sure. And then you want to get into the question, what is exactly affordable housing? It's whatever somebody can afford. But if you take and look at what we got right now as far as jobs right now and revenue stream for Chattanooga, we can't afford it. We got to build them en masse. We're talking tens of thousands of new homes. We got to promote home ownership. Okay, right. And affordability, and we got to create jobs at the same time. It's a cluster of everything going on at one time. But if we don't get on a stick with this, we're in serious problem.
So just keep the focus on arts. I'm just curious. Sometimes people hear trade school do not associate that with the arts. So what is your feeling or philosophical look at how the arts fit in?
You take the guy that builds those over on Main Street, that guy that does all the welding of all that up in there. You know, he's works with all that steel, and a piece of that works right out here at the Heritage. Okay, all right, that guy's talented. Okay, but we need welders for that kind of stuff too. But we need welders in everything. Our skill set's gone. You know, there's no craftsman hardly anymore. And a craftsman is all about, you know, I'm all about aesthetics. I'm an architect, okay? An engineer. Aesthetics means everything to me, okay? You have to have a creative eye to do that. So we got to promote this creativity. Mm-hmm. We don't have any creativity other than, you know, these murals that we have down in East Chattanooga are beautiful, okay? They give a statement there. I like that type of thing, you know? And we need that kind of thing. And I don't have a problem with you guys coming to me in my administration. Give me something that we can use. I expect you in my office there, okay? But it's up to the legislative city council to approve this. I can't be sitting here acting like I'm a king and I'm going to give you everything. I can't do that. But I'll earmark something in there for you. It's up to you to get it approved from city council. But I want you to sell me on what you're doing, and I'll help you in any way I can.
Now, in the trade school idea, just the city doesn't control the school system. That's a county function. But what is the role like a parks and the recreation centers? in this vision of yours? Does there a role of do the arts fit in the rec centers, or have a role in the rec centers?
Oh, most definitely. Our rec centers are not being utilized to the capability they are. Okay. And we got a lot of things that we got to cover, but the skilled worker, we have to get back on so many facets, because it addresses homeless. It addresses underprivileged areas right there. If we give everybody a working skill, even if they decide to leave Chattanooga, they'll have that skill with them the rest of their life. Okay. It's our duty. Yeah, we're not into, when the trade schools left here, when the county took over all of our schools in the city of Chattanooga.
Right.
Okay. And they're not emphasizing in that. And there's politics involved in that. Not everybody's cut out to go to college. Okay. But doesn't mean that they don't deserve to have a working trade, that they can make a living and raise their family. Okay. This right here, this program I'm talking about, is going to take care of child support problems. It's going to encourage the family unit again. Okay. And at the same time, with all this revenue stream that I'm talking about bringing in for the city, it's going to allow you guys to get out here and do what you need to do. But you have skilled people out here that's interested in doing what you're doing. All right. And it's just going to open up avenues for you guys. It's unbelievable what I'm talking about right here. And we have to do it. We don't have no choice about it.
So how would that be? Well, let me ask this question. Are you thinking that this is a direct, people would come to the city, to you, or the city council request for funds, or is this actually what they have now?
This is a revenue neutral program.
Okay.
I know it's not one of those things that you guys like to hear, I mean, it's unheard of. Okay, let's put it that way. But what it does is it cuts down recidivism. All right.
Mm-hmm.
If you got a non-violent offender, okay, violent offenders, they don't get an opportunity in this choice. Okay. It depends on what degree. If they're just having a fist fight and they consider that, no, that ain't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about to less where they're trying to shoot somebody or hurt somebody, stab somebody, actually do something bad. Okay. They're not invited to this program, and we'll have to deal with them directly. But I want to cut back on we got a lot of unnecessary people that's in jail right now. Okay. We want to make room for the real bad guys to be put in there. All right. So, because we got to get a handle on this gang violence. Nobody wants to come to Chattanooga, man. I mean, I got a guy I was talking to from LA. He says, I can't believe what's going on here, man. There's a shooting going on every day out here. What's up with this? This is a cute little old town, man. I like this place. You got hiking, you got everything going for you, but you got this little set. It's just rocking and rolling the whole place, turn this upside down because you're afraid to go anywhere. Okay. I mean, it's made a big impact just on Hamilton Place Mall. Okay. Which you guys need to be up in there big time. That whole area over there. Okay. So what I'm getting at is, Amazon is kicking the tar out of brick and mortar stores. Okay. Right. And then when you got the crime and the shootings and stuff goes on at Christmas time over, and a lot of people don't want to go to that mall because of that. That's hurt their business a lot. And then when you put COVID on top of that, they're really struggling. Okay. Nobody's going to address the COVID issue. It's something that we need to address, but we cannot shut down our city over it. We have to come up with more creative solutions on this, because there's a lot of people hurting. There's a lot of people got laid off, no fault of their own. Okay. But that's the reason why I'm saying so critical, because what this past administration had envisioned for the city of Chattanooga, and I know Andy, he was my attorney. Okay. I've known Andy for a long time. He's got a lot of stuff going on. I mean, I'm it's really impressed. Okay.
Right.
But we can't, it was set up to where everything had to go perfect. Okay. And we're teetering right now. It's going to be a house of cards. I mean, look at all the vacancies we have down there. This is not going like it's supposed to.
Right.
Okay. So we got to start turning this ship in another direction to be able to support. I don't want to lose that. That's beautiful down there. We got to keep it. We got to keep it rolling. But there's not a candidate out here that has a comprehensive plan to be able to do that.
So,
And man, I'm telling you, I got stuff that come out right here later on. I can't divulge it right now, but I'll be more than willing to share a link with you guys and link you up to it. But it's explosive, and it will just put us on the map, and then it'll take you. You just guys are just going to love it. I'll just put it that way.
well, so when you say turning the ship and talked about crime and Chattanooga crime, I think so tell us what is the role of the arts in this plan? Is there an arts or a role for the arts in this plan? So I think for our audience,
what I'm saying to you, if we don't get a control of all this other stuff, you guys don't have a program. That's how serious this is. Okay. You guys, I need to protect you guys. You got a vital role. I need you to keep doing what you're doing. But if we don't have money to support you, what are you going to do? Okay. And I'm just going to tell you what the next mayor is going to tell you. He says, hey, we got priorities we got to take care of over here. We're going to have to cut you guys back. But look at the revenue stream you guys bring into us.
Right.
Okay. We can't afford to lose you. Anybody that says or questions that, you're the most valuable asset we got. I wish we had about 3 or 4 more of you guys like that with organizations that does that. But our family youth development, we're not getting the bang for the buck that we need there. Yeah, COVID's going on like that, but you guys need to be entrenched in there. Okay. And these kids out here has got to be motivated. Okay. You got to pique their interest. And there's so much going on in our society and everything that don't exactly, on the national scale, that does not relate to us. But we try to mirror off what's going on national. We need to take care of our own. Right. We need to be just, let's do our own thing. Let's don't do what the Joneses are doing in Chicago or New York or whatever. Let's do our own thing.
What about?
We'll be a lot better off.
Excuse me for 1 second. I just want to interject that we have 30 minutes left and we have a lot of questions to answer. So you're great. It's great to hear your feedback, but let's let Rodney answer ask some questions.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm just curious, as you talk about be more specific, like what do you feel about the city having a Department of Public Art? Is that something that you would want to continue? Or is this something that other people, you're just looking for nonprofits, individual artists coming with proposals to you?
No. You guys have to be the focal point of that. And whenever you guys, I'm going to depend on what you guys say, okay? That's what's going to bring credibility to me, okay? I'm going to let you guys do what you do best. And you got a proven record that you're doing a good job. So I probably won't even question it. Maybe a little bit, but not much. But for knowledge purposes, I got to keep a pulse of what's going on in the community. I will be active in the community. I will not go up in my Eiffel Tower and not come out and communicate with nobody. I'll be out on a regular basis. When you call me, you can get to me.
So when you, since it's on people's minds, there are things that happen in Washington. If you had a crisis situation in Chattanooga, what is a way that you would, I guess there are 2 parts of this. How would you address it to the community? What would be your style to deal with a crisis? And again, what is the role of the arts within that plan?
All right. You're going to have to rephrase that question. I don't know where the arts would have anything to do with a crisis anyway. Are we talking about what happened over here at the naval recruiting thing kind of disaster, or what are we talking about?
Something horrendous that happened, like what happened in Washington and happened here in Chattanooga. How do you envision how you
talking about where they ran the Capitol into the Capitol building? Is that what we're talking about here?
Correct. So yeah, if you had to get a situation where, like what happened with the shooters here, or people stormed, were angry, and let's say here on the 17th, people were angry and storming City Hall. What would you, as mayor, how would you handle a crisis situation like that?
Well, I mean, there's so many variables there, but my first take is, we're going to have to find out what caused it, what ignited that. And there's always there's always going to be signs of that, okay? That leads up to that point, okay? But first of all, I'm not going to be out there on my mic with a hot mic out there explaining to ignite that type of thing. I'm not going to have that type of cult following. That's not my role here, okay? My role here is give everybody opportunity to do their own thing. All right? That's the freedom of what I want to give everybody freedom to be able to do stuff that they want to do. And I want to bring out the best of everybody. We need to take care of our roads. Our roads suck. Okay? It's embarrassing. If we got people coming in here looking upon us, they see what's going on downtown, but the city's big, we got to take care of it all. We just can't just focus one area, because people come in town, they're all over this place. Okay? They're staying in a motel over here. They got to drive through over here. They're seeing Chattanooga. That's what they're down here for, hiking and all this stuff. We got to promote tourism. But we got to be able to take care of our own. We got to create jobs, good paying jobs, not minimum wage jobs. Okay. Minimum wage jobs are going to take care of themselves. All right. But we got to have good paying skilled labor jobs, something that people can raise a family with.
Right. Just to change the subject a little bit, what is your current relationship with the county mayor, and what do you envision your relationship would be with the county?
Well, the county mayor is going to probably not like me too much. I mean, we'll get along fine. Don't get me wrong, but he's got to provide a little bit more services than he's providing just other than the jail. And they don't provide any kind of services. People don't realize that just the incorporated cities in Hamilton County, and just like in Chattanooga, all right, we're double taxed, okay? And yeah, they do the school system and stuff like that. But you got to remember now that the city was doing their own schools too at one time. All right.
Right.
So then we turn them over to the county, and I know David Crockett. He's one of the guys that got into that. And me and David go way back, and he explained to me the situation on that, and it was it's something they felt like they needed to do at that point in time. But I think that it was it's not in our best interest. I think that we need to have a separate school board just for city schools. I think they're too broad. They're trying to manage this stuff, but our kids are not being educated. I mean, I was looking at over here at Brainerd High School. I mean, there's like 25, don't hold me to this, I think there's like 25 that graduated this year.
So how would you make an impact on the Black community, and how would you create, and especially how would you create opportunities for the Black community, and particularly there's been some
I'm not going to focus on one community, okay? It's going to be so broad, it's going to be for everybody. It's like a boat marina. All the boats are going to go up at one time, all right? I'm not going to differentiate that. That's not my role here. But what I'm going to be bringing to the Black community is small business people. We got to keep the dollars in our own communities, okay? In Chattanooga, we got too much going out of Chattanooga. Millions and millions of dollars going out of Chattanooga unnecessarily, i.e. engineering.
Nope, we lost
you, Chris.
We lost your.
Out the door. We need to have these dollars in our community, okay? See, that's what you guys do. That's how I'm trying to explain to you how I'm going to generate money for you guys.
No, yeah.
We're going to take care of things that we need to do. And you guys are an important role in this here. And it's so many levels, so many facets, you can't even comprehend it.
Sure.
We don't have enough time to do that right now.
Yeah, and
what you guys can do.
Yeah, and thank you. I think we appreciate that. There does seem to be some systemic issues about that prevent equal access to, like there's an issue with Black artists being selected for public art, and there are some just a systemic problems that have not provided equity, an equitable system in City Hall. So I just, how would you go about trying to create equal access, equal accessibility, equal opportunities for particularly the Black community, but just general overall?
We got to be fair with it. We got to be fair about it. But as well as there's a lot of people out here that want to get something for nothing. Okay. And this is what you guys' key role. That's the reason why you need to be a part of my administration, is to come to me and sort these types of things out. Okay. We're a multicultural thing. We have to be that way. That's what makes a city. Okay. In my mind. All right. Everything's got to work in tandem. And it's really kind of amazing how it does work. I mean, if you think about it, you'd think it would be a lot worse than it is. And if you're looking at the mainstream, yeah, you think that we're going to hell in a handbasket, but we're not. We got our act together, and we're going to do a lot better, and we're going to bring everybody with us, because this is Chattanooga's going to shine. Okay, we're going to clean up our act. We're going to get everything taken care of on our environment issues. We got to have clean water around here. And we can't just take that right there and use it for a revenue stream for other projects that's not necessary. We got to play smart about it.
And I'm hearing, of making an impact on broad strokes of people. There's a particular interest of people with disabilities and not having people.
Everybody's important. People with disabilities and stuff, they're important. Our homeless thing right here, what I'm talking about with trade schools like this, all right? We got to take care of our own. Now, this program that I'm talking about doing is where you bring some folks off the street and we get them set up. We go through caseworkers. We'll get whatever drug issues they have, whatever the situation is, we get nailed down. We get them working into a trade. They have to have, when you're homeless, if you don't have a physical address, you can't get nothing. You can't get a birth certificate. You can't get an ID. You can't get nothing. No way to identify yourself. You can't get a checking account. How do you expect to do anything? Okay. So the trade schools plays an important role in that, and the city's going to build these things. Okay.
Right.
Now, and we can do that in big scale. That's no problem. And we're going to create a lot of jobs in doing that right there. And it's not going to cost as much people think it's going to do, because it's going to be revenue neutral. All right, say you got somebody that comes in that's a little misdemeanor crime or something like that, and he's got to do, say, 1129 at Silverdale out here. Or maybe he's got child support issues he got thrown in jail for, okay? We got to address this child support. But what you do is they can sign up for this program, and they can go through it in 9 months right there. All right, so they're making $10 an hour. They're going to be working relatively cheap, okay? But that's how we're going to get the private and public sector involved in this right here, because this is where it's going to come in. We need workers out here, all right? So when they're doing their training, so they get $7 an hour of that money is going to go for their housing and their fines. That's what the city needs for their revenue, okay? And then $3 of it goes into a savings account. So when they're done with this program, they got a little bit of money to start up housekeeping, and they can work up to 90 hours a week if they want to. The more money they make, the better off they are.
So are the trade schools something that city runs, builds and runs, so that's separate from the county system? Is that what you were thinking? Or
that's correct. I mean, the county can't handle this. This is something that we have to do as Chattanooga citizens. We have to do it. It's our responsibility. That's the only way we're going to be able to curb this this crime thing that we got going, this gang violence, okay? Folks are going to have to work instead of out here trying to hustle, trying to make a dime for themselves. You know, just it's a revolving door down there. We got people that, I mean, come on, it's complex. You sit there and you get behind on your child support, all right? They take your driver's license away. How are you going to get to work? Is there anything fair about that? You know, I get it. They want their money and all this stuff. But see, it's a two-way street there. It's for the females too, okay? They have to play a role in this. We're going to have daycare set up for them, okay? Where they can work. But they're going to have to go through a trade school. They're going to have to do home economics. They're going to have to learn balance a checkbook. They got a lot of things that they need to do, and that would help out. And we got to focus on our kids. Our kids are being left behind. They're hungry. You know, I used to belong to a mentors group. I worked with Anthony Bird at the city council. Me and him and David Brooks were the fire department. We had a good thing going on. All right, and what the key was to get kids in the door, we fed them. And we started out with 6 and we ended up with 86 in just a matter of months. And it was revenue neutral. We didn't ask no money from nobody. We took care of ourselves, me and 3 other guys. And it was a wonderful thing. We had the gang leaders come in there and talking to the kids, trying to tell them not to get involved in this. We have a gang problem in here in Chattanooga. But what I found out from working in that sector right there, it's probably changed just a little bit right here. So my numbers might be a little bit skewed, but I'm just going to tell you what I know and what I've been seeing out here. We only have about 350 legitimate gangbangers in the city of Chattanooga, but we got 5,000 wannabes, and the wannabes are the ones that's causing all this problems. The true gang members, they want to be low key. They're going to do what they're going to do and going about their business. They're not about shooting it up and all that stuff. Okay. These other ones are trying to make a name for themselves. This is what we got to. So we got to work on those folks.
Yeah.
It's easy to do. You know, we just got to be focused on that. And everything it takes care of so many levels of problems that most people are complaining about, that have concerns about. Yep. It takes care of those issues. It addresses those issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have like 2 minutes of this section. Just why don't you take the last 2 minutes, just kind of summarize again your vision for Chattanooga and where the arts and the role of the arts and how it fits in a couple minutes.
All right. The arts is going to be a critical role in what I'm wanting to do with the trades, okay? Because trades, when you learn a skill set, that's craftsmanship. Craftsmanship plays an intricate role with the arts, okay? So you're going to have craftsmen that knows how to build art, okay? It's just nothing you say, I got an idea of building a structure. You got to know how to build it.
Right.
All right. It's got to be beautiful. Aesthetics plays a role in it. You guys are you understate yourself how critical you guys are. All right. You play a vital role, and I respect that. And as my administration, I expect to hear from you guys. Let me know your problems there. I'll do my best to help you with it. Okay? Because you're an asset to Chattanooga. Cool. Don't let nobody tell you no different. Okay?
Well, okay. We appreciate that. Yeah, Monica, do you have any questions? Thank you, Chris.
I do. I have some questions from our audience that I'd like to address. Thank you, Chris. Starting earlier today, maybe even before we started hitting record, we were talking about the glass farms area, and new ventures that potentially are coming that way, such as the Save a Lot finally being opened and providing food and so on. Gentrification is affecting the Black community in devastating ways. How would you ensure that the culture of the Black community is preserved?
Okay, well, now you got to understand now, gentrification is not necessarily always bad, okay? But if people's lived there their whole life and it's a culture there, okay, we don't need to disrupt that. All right, give you an example. We have tons of federal funding through HUD, is earmarked for Chattanooga. Okay. And this administration, I'm pointing out fingers. Donna Williams, she's in charge of that administration. Of that, you know, what they do is they have tons of HUD money out here that people can fix their houses up, you know, because, you know, no fault of their own, the revenue stream's not there. They're not keeping the houses up. Okay. Well, they have code violations. The houses have some issues where safety concerns, you know, and they don't have the money to fix these things. Okay. But see, in order for gentrification to work, is the city has to pave a road. And this is going to be kind of controversial there, but I mean, I've seen it firsthand. They'll come in there and just condemn a house, and they won't let the people know that there's alternatives for them. They don't have to get that house condemned. Okay, they can fix that house up and look nice and be modeled. Okay, and there's revenue from the federal government to do that, but it's administered only through the city of Chattanooga. They pick and choose what they want to do with that. If they don't want you fixing your house up because it brings down the cost for new development to come in there to buy your house at the cheap, and then they flip it around and bring it in for high end. You know, and what's crazy is this. Our housing market has gone crazy. It's gone through the roof. Can't afford some of these houses out here. Brand new house right now, cheapest thing I think you can buy is like $240,000. Brand new. Our development cost regulations has set it that way. Unless we can roll that back. See, that's what I'm an expert in. I know how to roll that stuff back to where we can have affordable housing. There's not a candidate out here who knows how to do that.
Okay, well, I think that leads us into our next question is, what makes you most qualified to be mayor? Please give some examples of your leadership and accomplishments that you feel have prepared you for this role.
All right, I've been a small businessman for 30 years. I've virtually changed the landscape in Chattanooga in one form or another because all the development I've done. I.e., like, to give you an example, I have a multi-million-dollar hotel that needs to be going up downtown. It's been in the plans review in the city of Chattanooga for over a year. That has to get straightened up down there right off the bat. Instead of sitting behind the desk telling folks what they can't do, they're going to come around the desk and show people how to do it. Because people want to comply with the rules. They don't have no problem with that. But you get jammed up in that log jam down there, and then COVID hit and all this stuff. Well, these investors here are second guessing whatever they want to do. I'm trying to keep it together right now. We can lose that, but that's potential $750,000 a year in tax revenue just walking out the door. We got to, you know, the city, all the employees down there are public servants. And they need to treat people that way. Yeah, I know there's a small handful that wants to take advantage of this. I get that. But at general large, we got to have small business startups. You know what it's like to start up a small business when you don't have any money and you have a dream that you want to do something and you got one barrier after another kicking you down, you know, because you got all this unnecessary regulation that's involved in it. But that's, you know, like East Chattanooga, Alton Park, I'm going to promote Black small business districts. Keep the dollars in their community. It's important. They have to do that. And you'll see their city just open wide up. I mean, we got to promote tons of little small businesses in East Chattanooga, but we got to keep them safe at the same time. But once that takes place, it's going to be a natural gentrification. But what we want to do is keep the people in the community be able to fix their own houses up and grow economically and get their family units back together so everything works in harmony. And we got to do this. There's only one way to this. Everything comes back to jobs. Everything comes back to jobs. And if nobody don't have a job, how do you expect anybody to do anything? How are you going to raise your family? How are you going to do this? All right. Nobody's talking about a sustainable economic engine. This whole race here, they're talking about this program right here. There's not going to be any money for these programs. So why are you talking about them?
Okay, so our next question, it's two-part, is one, as we all know, representation matters. And as you're speaking of these Black communities, representation among your administration and your team also matters. Do you have a diverse and inclusive team for your administration planned out?
Yeah, we got a lot of key players, that I've known, and I've not offered them the position yet, but I know what their skill set is and how committed they are in their community. And I know if they had the right tools, what they can do. You can get a lot of bang for your buck. Okay. But everybody's going to the trough down there, and everybody's getting fat off of it. All right. But you're going to have to cut some of that back out. We got to work for the people in the community. We just can't throw dollars out here and throw dollars out here. Okay. We got to get something back in return, like you guys do. See, we're getting bang for our buck. And I want to do everything I can for you guys to keep you guys afloat and going. I want you guys to be happy because you're bringing revenue into us.
Okay. I have another question in reference to earlier today, or earlier in our questions. You mentioned that only 25 students graduated from Brainerd, and we had someone clarified that they had over 100 students actually graduate this year. They also followed up with a question: can you talk about the importance of early childhood education?
Yes, that's critical. I mean, we're getting away from, I'm not saying that a single mom can't raise a child up, it's not that, but a father plays an important role. And the way the things are geared up, it's just like, a woman needs assistance to help raise her kids and stuff like that. If a man's involved in it or has anything to do with that, she's penalized for that. I don't like that. Okay. I think it needs to be a group effort.
Can you explain that again? I'm sorry, the penalized part. Can you explain that again?
Well, you get penalized if you can't have a man in your house if you're on subsidy. Okay. Because there's another income thing. He's supposed to be working, putting in all this, and then you're disqualified for it. All right. That's not what it's about, I don't think. We got to change that up and use it a little bit more fair, that's the problem. We got to have the fathers with the children, a family. We're losing our families. It's all one-sided. It's done that way by design. I feel like that's just my opinion. But everything that I'm seeing out here, when I'm talking to people in the Black community, I don't want no man in my house. I'll get more money without him.
Well, I don't know if I feel that that's kind of a generalization, because I personally am a product of a single mother who raised 3 children while my father was in prison. And I think I turned out pretty well. So thank you for that. Okay. Well, thank you, since we just met. But I have another question for you, Mr. Long. You talk about creative solutions. Would he be open to employing artists? Would you be open to employing artists in your administration to be instrumental in solving problems that are plaguing the city?
Yes. I mean, everybody, however minute, like, give you an example. When I go on a big project, I had a big multi-million-dollar project going on downtown, and I'm out there. I talk to the guy that's sorting the nuts and bolts, just the general labor. Okay. The reason why I talk to him, because when I go to the superintendent that's running that project, he's going to tell me what I think I should hear. Okay. And I get 2 different stories. When I talk to the guy, just the common labor right there, he tells me exactly what's going on with my project in the honest, sincerest way he can. So when I go up to my superintendent that's supposed to be in charge of my project, I know if he's lying to me. I already know what his problems are, but he's going to gloss over his problems. Oh, don't worry about it. Like, you need to know this kind of stuff in order to facilitate. But that's one thing that I'm good at, is to motivate my work staff. Give them a positive thing. Give them something they feel proud of and be a part of. And our public works department down here, those folks down there do a tremendous service for us. And they're not being acknowledged like they should be. Back when I was a kid, when you worked at the public works department in there, You was the guy on the block. You had a lot of respect. That's gone to the wayside now. These guys are going to be an intricate part of paving our roads in Chattanooga. We got paving equipment down there, millions of dollars worth of paving equipment. It's just sitting down there growing mothballs. We need to be using that.
Okay. All right. We have
outsourcing it.
We have two more questions for you, sir. One is a two-part, and then there's another. So what are your thoughts about the current BFO process, and how would you restructure the BFO process to make funds more attainable for the nonprofits serving our community?
Yes, I mean, that's something that's going to be addressed. All right, it needs to be addressed, but I can't be telling you that I'm king here and I'm going to do that. That has to go through the city council level. All right. Now I can give my opinion on that, and then I can, when I run out the budget, I can run out my budget on that. But people are going to have to be accountable for that. You know, we got to get our bang for our buck.
Okay, so you would keep the budget for outcomes process, because as a new mayor, you don't necessarily have to keep that process. You can instate a new one, or you can take it away, reestablish, restructure.
We're going to have to reevaluate it. And then what I'll do is I get key people like you in here saying what's the downside of it for you, or what's the upside for you. And we have to be fair about it.
Okay. Last question that we have submitted. Why should the people who make up the local arts and culture sector vote for you?
Because I'm an artist at heart, and I'm about creating an economic engine that supports the art community. And they play an important role to what I'm wanting to achieve. I'm taking Chattanooga in another direction, and they're a part of it. And I want them to be a part of it. But I'm the only candidate out here that can handle this problem. I already know where the problems lie at in the administration. I know exactly what key points we got to do to fix this problem. And I know how to encourage development and investors in our community. Okay. I know how to get them motivated and take a chance on us, but we are expecting hard times. Okay. There's no way around it. And voting for me is going to soften the blow. Voting for anybody else that don't even have a clue that it's coming, or not even talking about it. They need to be talking about it, and they're not. I'm setting precedents here. I'm setting the tone for the way this election is going to go just today with this camera interview with you.
Thank you.
Nobody's talking about this.
Okay, thank you. And as you probably know, this is a reference to an earlier question when you spoke of working with the arts in crisis. I would say the pandemic has been quite a crisis for a lot of us, our businesses, our nonprofits, and so on. And the call to action has really come to our nonprofits and to our arts organizations to sustain our community and to help our community with needs such as food, way beyond what their normal scope would be. And so, you know, I think I encourage you to think of additional ways that the arts can help when there are times of crisis if you do get this position, if you are elected mayor. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to participate this morning. I would like to remind everyone that we have 2 more of these events with 2 additional candidates scheduled this week. On Wednesday at 9 a.m. we have candidate Christopher Dahl, and on Friday at 12 o'clock we have candidate Andrew McLaren. Rodney, do you have any announcements that you would like to share with the attendees?
We have planned, we'll see about COVID, but I'll just say we have a production of Almost Maine that actually will be coming up in February. So stay tuned. So we're still trying to do things under our conditions.
Yes, thank you. Amy, does Arts Build have any announcements that you'd like to make as you close this out?
Just to thank you for everybody being here today, and thank you most of all to Monica and Arts Forward for your partnership today and every day, but especially in facilitating today's talks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Long. We really appreciate your time. We know how busy you are and how everyone is trying to get some time with you to learn more. We will share this video on our YouTube at Arts Build and also on our Facebook pages, and I'll make sure to email it to you as well, okay?
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. You know, tough times need tough leaders, and I'm that candidate. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Everyone have a wonderful day.
Thank you.